The amount of anti-blackness that's permeated globally since the beginning of time is disproportionate to the history that black people have had on this planet. Where's the big crime against humanity? Where's the big crime against the environment? Where's the big crime against the animal kingdom? I mean, of course I know that there's no crime that would justify the amounts of anti-blackness that the world has allowed to fester. And my bigger point is how powerful propaganda is. You can go to any country, so many languages have slurs for black people. And this goes from the top 1% to the Mountain Dew drinking maggots. Even in the Epstein files, no black people in his day-to-day life. There's been racial slurs in those emails. These young Republican group chats that have been getting leaked, there's been several get leaked. They using the N-word back and forth all day, dream about causing harm to black people. Think about when the streamer, I Show Speed, he went to him going to some of the countries in Europe or some of the countries in Asia, making monkey noises, throwing bananas. European soccer leagues, they've had to have games with nobody in the stands because the anti-blackness was so out of hand. You can fail in another career. You can be a failed actor, a failed musician, a failed athlete. If you pivot to spouting out anti-black rhetoric, you can make a lucrative career out of that. You can have a viable career. You can call kids the N-word, have that video go viral, and then you've got a 6-figure GoFundMe set up in 3 business days. The math's just not adding up. 2 + 2 is not equaling 4. The amount of dehumanization and persecution just doesn't add up to the impact and history black people have had on this planet. That just shows you how much of a real thing propaganda and programming is.
Some Spanish families would tell their children, like, oh, don't hang out with those other kids, like black children, because they're gonna get you into trouble. And, you know, I don't like those people. They rather them hang out with their own people or, you know, white children. Like why do people hate African Americans so much? That's like another topic itself, but it's just like, it amazes me, like the energy that Spanish people be having towards the African Americans, like, and then you guys be mad that your sons or your daughters want to date outside of their race. They can do whatever they want. Like, the hell? Like, they be mad when they do that. And then these are the same people who have sons who get hairstyles that are mainly known to get done by African American people. The cornrows, the pop smoke braids, straight backs, gel braids, whatever you want to call them, and those box braids, those twists, are originally African American hairstyles. Your sons and daughters want to dress like us and be in our skin, and that's fine. That's fine, but don't like make it a big deal. Like, you can't stop what your children want to do. Like come on. And I hate to come on here and have to like be so raw with it, but it's like, I'll be tired of that shit. My boyfriend, he's Spanish. He don't see everything that I see from my point of view, but I deal with shit from his deal with stuff with his parents. So they say and do little things. It's like, is it because I'm black? Or he's like, no, babe, you know, they have no problem with black people. They love black people. And I'm like, and I try to explain to him, like, I understand what you're saying, how you feel, but you don't see it from my point of view. Like, the other day I heard someone, they were giving a scenario, right? And then it was like a scenario with a black person and a white person like saying something, and basically the person was just like, oh, like, why are you being racist? Like, are you being racist? And then when the person explained back the story, who was Spanish, said it was just like, oh my god, they always think someone's being racist. Like, it's just like, what? Like, you guys don't even know what the fuck we've been through. The fuck, you guys, not just Spanish people, white people as well, want to do black activities, act black, cosplay and all that, but you guys cannot handle the heat when y'all step into that kitchen and you're being profiled. It's all fun and games until guns being pointed at your face. Until your life is over, people are taking advantage of you. People are paying you less just because of the color of your skin. This conversation could go but so deep, but like, why all this hate?
You know what, I will say this. White people invented racism. It's their fault. But in my life, in my experience, the most overt, disgusting racism I've ever experienced has been from other non-black people of color. And it's because white people's hatred of black people has so emboldened them that they're like, wow, I really don't want to be associated with black people at all. They hate the shit out them niggas. I actually don't want to be like that at all. And I feel like because of white people's hatred for black people and that like kind of ripple effect, non-black people of color and their racism against black people is deplorable. Like, I came to college, I went to a PWI, and the worst racism I ever experienced was from other non-black people of color. Like, non-black people of color, like, not from white people. White people, it was like microaggressions, it was minor shit, it was stupid shit. But the people that felt emboldened enough to say horrible, awful things to my face were not white. they were non-white, and it's because they don't want to be associated with us because of how white people have perpetuated us. So I will say it's like a domino effect, and I feel like other people of color are like, well, damn, I just don't want to be like that. I don't want to be treated the way they're treated.
Okay, so I made that video earlier about how they saw us before we were considered humans to the other race, right? And in the comments, I seen a comment that said that there literally used to be human zoos, and that Benjamin Franklin literally wrote about it in a satire way, right? And that immediately made me think about Sarah Bachman. If you don't know who she is, that was the woman who had the extremely big butt, that's very common now. Yo, auntie with them wild hips and that tabletop booty. Yeah, that's how she was built. But they had her in a museum, like in a circus, like a freak show, right? And then when she died, they put her in the museum. After she died, her body was still in the museum. They just got her out the museum, within the last 10, 12 years, right? But then when they said that, it immediately made me think, y'all do understand, hate comes from two places. Hate and love is one side. It's two sides of the same coin. It's either love or it is obsession. They know that they cannot be us, and no, this is not and I'm very black power, but this is not even a black power thing. This is fact. They are so obsessed with us. When you was learning gynecology, you studied our bodies. You get what I'm saying? When Benjamin Franklin got them wooden teeth, he had slave teeth. You get what I'm saying? Y'all are always so fascinated with us, and y'all are so fascinated with us that y'all hate us because our genes, because our DNA, because our strength, because our agility, and it is scientifically and physically proven. That's what it is, y'all. They are so obsessed that it has caused a hatred. That's it. That is literally it. And there's so many people that will hear me and say that that's ignorant or say that that is false. But if you really look at the way that obsession works, if you look at the way that hatred works, I'm talking about like psychologically, down to a science, that is literally how it works. And that's what it is. And for the people that's going to say that this is not true and this is not absurd, y'all know that one TikTok sound that said, if you black, you never buy yourself because it's always a white person in your business. Do you know that that sound literally came from a white person being in black people's business, right? And then if you go to the sound, you will see how many white people are casually, actively in black people business. There's not a sound that say black people is always in white people business, because black people is not always in white people business. I seen a video. I think it was in Paris, in France. It was some black women. They was singing in the street. It was not nobody down there where they was at. Do you know everybody came down, surrounded, recording, clapping? Guess what? They are white people. It's proven. You can walk outside today. Go, man, our hairstyles, edges is now sticky bangs. You get what I'm saying? Y'all don't own braids and we don't. But them cornrows and shit, yeah, bitch, that's us, because we was literally running from y'all. You get what we saying? But it's literally proven. Like, if you look, it's there, and it's not hard to find. I guarantee you can go outside and see it right now today. One more example, the daguerreotypes, the ones that Harvard got sued for that are now in the African American Museum. Yeah, they had to fight this lawsuit, twice? They lost the first time and then had to sue again. What was it for? Emotional distress. But Harvard fought that lawsuit and then bought it again. Why are y'all fighting so hard to keep pictures of slaves that were literally found in y'all attic by a man that was cleaning? You get what I'm saying? Y'all, those were intended to never be seen again because they proved back then. Let me give y'all the history on the daguerreotypes. It was a man that wanted to prove that black people and white people derived from different species, so he paid a photographer to go take daguerreotypes. They were very fragile pictures and they are very expensive. These pictures prove that they were humans. They look like us. Like those people look exactly like us. Yeah, they do, right? And they told them literally to never show us to anybody again after one person seen them, because it proved that we were indeed humans, right? But y'all got rid of these, put them in a box because y'all never wanted nobody to see them. But now y'all fighting the black people, the families of these slaves, direct descendants, so that they cannot have them. Why do y'all want them if it is not obsession? Why would you spend money to keep them if it is not obsession? Y'all literally had them marked in a box to be thrown away, hidden in the attic.
Y'all want to know why they hate that we celebrate Black History Month? It's because Black history is a constant reminder that their ancestors were the bad guys. All Black history is us overcoming the obstacles that their ancestors put in front of us. Imagine if they had a White History Month, right? What role would we play in White History Month other than we were the ones to help y'all achieve the things that y'all achieved? There's no part of white history where we would be the ones that held white people back from doing anything. But all Black History Month is white people put all of these barriers in front of black people and we overcame them. we achieved all of this greatness despite being the ones that were being abused and mistreated. And who were doing the abusing and the mistreatment? White people. So they don't like the fact that, you know, us celebrating our history is just a reminder that, you know, dang, they was the bad. Nobody wants to be the bad guy. Everybody wants to be the good guy. So if you was wondering, like, dang, why they just won't let us have our own thing? Because that's why it makes them look bad. Everything about Black history makes white people look bad because of what they did to us. If they would have treated us equally and fairly, it would just be history. It wouldn't be Black history, but we had to achieve our own greatness on our own because of how they treated us.
So the question reads, hi Danny, do you know why white people dislike Black people so much? So as usual, this will be for educational purposes only. Let's talk about it. First and foremost, I do not believe that the overwhelming majority of white people in America dislike Black people. I honestly believe that the biggest issue that we have in this country is defining what racism is. On one side of the coin, there is the collective thought that anyone has the ability to be racist. And they use the very literal definition that prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism by an individual, community, or institution against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group. Then it says typically one that is a minority or marginalized. On the other side of the coin, there's a popular belief that people of color can't be racist because they don't have enough power. That racism, the thinking goes, transcends prejudice. It's a system of advantage based on race, and people of color don't have the institutional power to oppress others. So basically, this type of racism is structural, it's institutional, it's in the systems. It is power plus prejudice equals racism. And Dr. Ibram X. Kendi, in his phenomenal book on how to be anti-racist, he says the notion that Black people can't be racist is tainted by racism itself. He is quoted as saying, like every other racist idea, the powerless defense underestimates Black people and overestimates white people. My thoughts are that if we are going to improve race relations, we need to have more honest conversations. I believe that us as a society, we spend much of our time infighting, arguing with each other over what it means to be racist, that we lose sight of what's really important. And if we listened with the intent to understand rather than to deflect or argue, we could gain a lot of ground. Now, one of my biggest struggles with understanding my own racism was knowing the difference between interpersonal racism and institutional racism. I thought because I wasn't running around calling Black people the N-word, I had Black friends, I had friends who had biracial kids, that it was impossible for me to be racist because I got along with Black people. But what I've learned is that there are different types of racism. There's internalized racism, there's interpersonal racism that we just spoke on, institutional racism and structural racism. It's insidious, it's covert, it comes in the form of microaggressions. It comes in the form of being implicit and explicit, covert and overt. So I don't believe that it's white people disliking Black people. I just believe that there's a lot of uneducated and misguided white people who have not done the work to become educated on the topic. And I don't want to seem like I'm justifying or excusing racism because we have a whole wealth of information at our fingertips. There is no excuse for it today. So my message to people would be to stop taking it so personal. When we talk about racism, it's not to attack your character, but it is to attack your education, your thoughts, and your ideas. Understand that we still uphold a constitution that was written by slave owners. We had the abolishment of slavery except when punishment for a crime. We still have legalized slavery written into our constitution by way of the 13th Amendment. And think about it. In 2022, we still had states that had slavery on the ballot. Alabama, Oregon, Tennessee, and Vermont all voted to end the exception, end the exemptions for slavery as punishment for a crime. And states like Louisiana rejected it. And you know why? Because it would cause them to lose a whole bunch of money. When we as a nation are profiting off the labor of our citizens, we are incentivizing crime. Crime technically pays, and it makes sense to create a prison industrial complex in which we have 2 million prisoners in the United States. And as a country, Black incarceration rates are dropping, but we still have a lot of work to do. 1,807 Black men per 100,000 were held in state or federal prisons during 2021. It was 324 white men. And at the height of mass incarceration, it was estimated that 1 in 3 Black males, while 1 in 17 white males, and it was 1 in 6 Hispanic males would be incarcerated during their lifetime or become convicted felons. And in my opinion, our criminal justice system is the epicenter of systemic or institutional racism in America. But it's all throughout our systems. It's in our housing, it's in our banking, it's in our education, it's in our voting, the way we do democracy, healthcare, the list goes on. And if we as white people aren't working together, standing in solidarity collectively to dismantle this, we are by default being racist. And of course, you're going to have the group of people that scream it's personal accountability, it's the family dynamics, it's the culture. And me personally, I don't believe personal accountability and advocating for a better system are mutually exclusive ideas. Both can be true at the same time. And there's this common misconception that white people today have to pay for the sins of our ancestors and that white people owe Black people, and that's just not the case. The United States government committed these egregious acts against Black Americans. It is our responsibility to hold the government accountable if we believe in justice like we say we do. And Brian Stevenson said it best. In the United States, wealth, not culpability, shapes justice. And this is why classism and racism are so closely related. What group of people has been robbed of the most generational wealth? So I may be a little naive, but as always, I want to believe in the goodness of humanity. There aren't a lot of white people who just flat out dislike black people, and the ones who are explicitly racist are not the ones that we have to worry about. It is the well-intentioned, God-fearing, family-loving, hard-working, tax-paying, community-serving, everyday white person that we have to worry about because they walk through this life unaffected and it's business as usual.
You know, the thing is, for the non-politicians and the normal everyday folks without a lot of power, everyday white folks with very little power, for them, it's just habit. I'm not trying to make light of it at all, but that's how they were raised, that's how they grew up. They have no intention or desire to learn to do better. It's just a habit. But for the rich, elite white folks, it is very much purposeful. Very much. And they may not even, well, they probably do because they have been indoctrinated just like everyone else. They probably do actually have hate in their own hearts, but they intentionally push it out to the regular people to keep us all fighting amongst ourselves so we don't go after the big, rich, fat cat white guys. And that's the truth of it.
Guys, you have watched the videos and I just have a few things that I would like to address right now. And the fact that black people have always been living in an environment where they feel and they know very well that they are not wanted, and every white person or people from other races as well make it so obvious that black people are not needed, and only unless when they are planning to use them. For example, when they want to use them for slavery, that is the only thing that they think is important when it comes to black people. When it benefits them is when they want to include black people, and that is actually a wrong move, but then that's not this. That's besides the point. What I would like to address right now is that white people should know that black people, in as much as they do not like to fight, they do not like to be the problem. And I'm not saying that because I am siding with the black people. It is very true that black people rarely ever try to get into problems with other races or like white people. Black people only retaliate when they have been looked down upon, and they have, like white people have brought a problem to them, so then they will speak. But other than that, black people always mind their business. They do not try to get into problems. They just live their lives the way that they are used to. And this somehow doesn't look like pleases white people, because I think they are always in the mood for fights. They're always feeling as though the existence of black people should mean a fight every other time. Now, black people, that is not what they thrive in. They thrive in just being silent, dealing with their own silent battles that they're used to and that no one else knows about. And yet, these are people out here trying to always provoke, always look for problems. Now, for you to know how damaged black people have been and for how long, now I will give an example of this lady called Henrietta Lacks. Henrietta Lacks was discovered to be someone that is special in a way that her body cells do not stop living. They actually divide endlessly, and that was something that was very, very important in the medical field. And they knew that with that they will be able to use those cells to come up with a lot of other medical achievements, which they did, thanks to them. But whatever Henrietta Lacks had to go through for that to happen, and also considering the fact that she was not consented, she was not asked, she did not allow it to happen, they just did it because they wanted to do it and because they could, that is exactly how black people are treated, that they do not even have a voice of their own. people will just decide that this is right to do to them, and they will go ahead and do it. Now, this lady died at the age of 31, if I'm not wrong. She died of cervical cancer. And there was, I'm not sure there was compensation to her family after these things came out, but the fact that these things were done to her without her knowledge, without her being consulted, without, it just helps you to know how these people view Black people, because they think we are less human. They think Black people are less deserving of just a little human dignity, something as simple as consent. Yeah. Now that's besides it. So there's also another lady, I forget her name, but she was put in a museum. She was put in a museum because when she was younger or becoming womanly, they noticed that she is different. Unlike white people, African women have some beautiful, beautiful bodies, and that is not even being racist here. It's just the truth, and the white people that are sober in the mind, they accept and they agree to that most women, most Black women are very curvy, they're very beautiful. And so these people decided, and this is those many, many years ago during slavery, they decided that because she's very beautiful, she needs to be in a museum where white men can look at her, sexualize her, and do everything possible that you could be thinking of right now, because she is that beautiful. Now, her beauty brought hell on her. She was put in a museum where those men did whatever they could do with her. They would pay to, whatever. That happened for a very long time. She was a young girl at that time. It happened for a very long time until she became an older woman, yeah? I do not think that she even got a chance to have her own children or family. I do not think that happened. I really doubt. So then after she died, and this is where the problem is becoming even worse. When she died, she was still put in the museum. Why? Because she was entertainment for white men. She was entertainment for white people. She had to be there. Even in her death, she was not respected. That is how much Black people are hated. That even in death, they will still disrespect you that much, make you, that is objectifying someone and treating them as if they were a thing, yeah? No human value. Now that is what they did to her. And if that doesn't annoy you more, there is this other lady. I also forget her name, but you know the story, I'm sure. This lady calls a little boy the N-word, a little 5-year-old boy. This is a story that happened around a year or two ago. A young boy and a man, I think the guy was Indian, or he wasn't a white man. I remember this guy goes to that lady and asks her, "What did you just say to this child?" And the lady says, "I called him the N-word because he was interfering with my baby's diapers or something, or some toys. Like, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was baby's stuff." And the guy asks again, "What did you just say?" And she says it in his face with the camera on, that she called the black boy the N-word. Now, you might think that that was as bad as it could get. Now, this lady goes viral, and a lot of things are being said. Of course, as you expect, there are people that are in support of her. Weird enough. People support her. Many, of course, do not. She starts encountering a lot of problems because now people have made her videos go viral. People are not liking her. People are like trying to put sense into her, and they're saying all sorts of things, and they just want justice for the little boy and for this woman and for others that have the same kind of behavior, to learn a lesson from it. What do? they make her go through some little hell. Compared to what she had done, it was little. Now this lady goes viral for a second time, almost around the same time. She goes viral this time for having cries, crocodile tears, because she is desperate. She doesn't have a home to stay in. She has problems. Even her children are not even safe where they stay anymore because people are coming at her. And like all those kinds of things. And for any normal human being, you'd think you deserve it, like you deserve it. Yeah? But that is not what happens. Now, what do white people do? They decide to go to her GoFundMe and send ridiculous amounts of money. And on top of that, send messages, like how on GoFundMe you can actually leave a message there after donating. They leave racist messages there, very racist messages there. Now, when black people are talking about white people not being supportive enough of trying to erase and do away with this racism thing, you totally think that we are being impatient, we are being too much. It is not, because that was one such moment where white people were supposed to make her learn a lesson from it and help other people like her to never do something like that. Instead, what they did was fund her excessively. There are people that have had GoFundMes and they had real problems, yeah? And they are genuine, like there are problems you'd really want to give them more. It's just that you do not have that much that you can give. You're even happy when you see them getting a lot of money. Now, this is not what happens. For this lady, she has wronged someone, a child for that case, and it doesn't make it better if it was an old person. She gets a lot of, I'm talking about ridiculous amounts of money. And why, you'd ask? Because fellow white people, fellow racists have decided that they want to. That was actually an act of racism by itself, because you're supporting someone that has been racist towards a child. And how do you expect other people to decode that? How do you expect them to understand that? That is simply you saying whatever she did was not wrong, and we are going to give her even a better life so she can do that even more if she wishes to, Now, such things will make black people, of course, think and know that white people are not even trying. Now, aside from that, there's this guy that you watched in this video, the guy that has broken down what racism is and how white people can use that to learn what racism is and what it's not. Because you realize sometimes when you talk to people or friends that are claiming to not be racist, sometimes there are things they say and they are hurtful, and these people, the way they say it, it's like a joke, it's like it's funny, and they do not know what that means to other people. Now, that is when we talk about internalized racism. They do not realize that they are doing something wrong, but for you, it's actually offensive, and it gets you in the wrong side of feelings. So that guy has tried to break down, and in the most appropriate and beautiful way. Now, those are the kind of white people that I thank on this channel. Thank you so much for fighting for the people that are unable to fight for themselves. Or if they are just caged enough not to do it as much as possible. So for anyone that is watching this video and you think this is helpful, consider sharing it to your friends, family, and anyone that is like-minded. New subscribers, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. It helps the channel to really grow and reach as many people as possible, and that is how we will get to a better place as a human race. Now, share your comments in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about this video and whatever I have said and whatever you've seen in the videos that were before I spoke. Let me know what you think about them, and if you've had other encounters that made you think or feel like white people really must hate black people, you might also consider sharing with us in the comment section. And I think that is all that I have for now. Guys, please subscribe to my channel. Let's grow this channel to get as many people as possible. And I think I'll see you on my next video, so keep safe and bye for now.